Our friends at the Coast Guard and NASBLA, the National Association of State Boating Law Administrators, gave us some important safety tips that apply to all marinas and states.
First, they remind us that safe boating is no accident. Always remember that you're the captain. The safety of everyone on board is your responsibility. Stay on your toes as the captain of the houseboat. You must keep a sharp lookout for other boaters and hazardous situations. Assign another passenger to be a lookout for extra safety, especially when going in reverse. Next, make sure that all the proper safety equipment is on board. Even though you've rented this vessel, as the captain, you're responsible for ensuring that all safety equipment is on board. Now let's take a look at that equipment. In the main cabin, you'll find U.S. Coast Guard approved personal flotation devices or life jackets. Life jackets must be readily available, serviceable, and sized appropriately. Children's life jackets will be distributed from the rental office prior to boarding. Children 12 and under must wear a life jacket at all times while underway, unless going into an enclosed cabin. Also found on each houseboat is a throwable life-saving device used for swimmers in distress. Your instructor will point out its location. The next piece of equipment no boat should be without is a U.S. Coast Guard approved fire extinguisher. Ask your instructor and refer to your operation manual for specific locations. Know where your fire extinguishers are located. In the main cabin, you'll also find a first aid kit. Your houseboat will have one very similar to this. Now let's look at your boat's smoke detector and carbon monoxide alarm systems. These two important devices are installed aboard all Forever houseboats. Each alarm has a distinctive sound that your instructor will demonstrate for you. If either alarm sounds during your trip, turn off all equipment except the cellular phone or VHF radio. Open all doors and contact your marina office immediately. Carbon monoxide is a byproduct of engine and generator exhaust and can come from your engine or generator or from nearby boats. The symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning may include headaches, fatigue, dizziness, convulsions, tightness in the chest, and nausea. Exposure to carbon monoxide can be fatal, and it can happen very, very quickly. So, take immediate action if the detector sounds the alarm. You do need to be aware that the carbon monoxide detector is extremely sensitive. Aerosol cans and perfumes can even set it off. Nonetheless, if the alarm sounds, always assume that it's detecting carbon monoxide. Evacuate the lower staterooms immediately and then the rest of the boat. Open the windows, but leave the back door and bathroom window closed. Turn off motors and generator. Also check surrounding area for motors running, such as a small boat next to the houseboat. Then, push the reset button on the unit to silence the alarm. After silencing, the red light may stay on for up to 20 minutes. Continue venting the boat until the alarm and light turns off. This may take a while. And here's a really important point. The carbon monoxide detector is there to help you. Let it do its job. Do not disconnect the carbon monoxide detector for any reason. Should the detector continue to sound its alarm, call the marina and request assistance. Never disconnect it. The VHF radio is an extremely important safety tool, located at the lower helm. It's very important to be aware of forecast weather conditions. Along with your cell phone, this VHF radio is your direct connection to the marina. After you're underway, be sure to monitor weather on your VHF and standard commercial radios. In case of mechanical problems, medical emergencies, or any serious situation, contact the closest marina or water patrol on the emergency hailing frequency. Remember, Channel 16 is an emergency and hailing channel only. Keep transmissions to an absolute minimum. Your marina instructor will discuss operation as well as radio etiquette in detail prior to departure. Also important, if you find yourself in an emergency situation, be sure to turn on your navigation lights. This will aid emergency personnel in locating you. Now let's talk about storms. You just may encounter one. If you're out on the water when a storm approaches, Find a safe spot to beach and tie up or anchor your houseboat. The safest places to be are in coves or other protected areas. You never want to navigate the boat in high wind or when the water breaks over the bow. In fact, if high winds exist before your departure, you'll stay docked until the winds subside. If you're underway and high wind conditions develop, proceed with your bow into the wind, to the nearest sheltered cove or other protected area. If any water is breaking over the boat, switch the bilge pumps to the manual position, like this. At this point, all persons aboard should put on life jackets. Tie up or anchor the houseboat securely, with the bow or front pointed into the wind, and wait for the storm to subside. In windy conditions, it's also a good idea to keep someone at the helm to keep the boat powered up on the beach. Stay clear of rocky beaches during storms to prevent hull damage to the houseboat. Once in a safe shelter, switch off the manual bilge pumps. During your checkout, your instructor at the marina will show you protected beaching or mooring areas, which you will want to enter prior to bad weather. You will also be given notice of any restricted areas. Your Forever houseboat will have a propane barbecue. Never leave your barbecue unattended. Remember that if propane is used improperly, it can be dangerous or even fatal. Be sure that you understand the proper operation of each propane device or appliance. Each is carefully explained in the Houseboat Operating Manual. If you do need to refuel propane tanks during your trip, after refueling, allow time for the gas fumes to dissipate with the blower on before relighting the propane equipment. If you smell gas or propane for an unusual length of time after refueling, or at any time during your trip, open the doors and windows. If this continues, shut down the tanks. Get on the radio and call the marina for a mechanic. It's important to remember, never turn the propane on while in the marina. Using the water slide is tons of fun, but here are a few very important cautions for all houseboats. The slide is to be used only when the houseboat is beached and secured. Swimming is not allowed in the marina dock area. Engines and generator must be turned off and in the complete down position before using the water slide. It's a good idea to pull keys from the ignition too. Check to make sure there's at least 6 feet of depth to the bottom of the lake to use the slide safely. And always swim the area first to detect hazards. Make sure there are no obstructions on the slide or in the water under the slide. Children should always be supervised while using the water slide, and all children and non-swimmers need to wear a life vest when using the slide or at any time they are in or near the water. Never swim underneath the houseboat. Here are a few more safety pointers. Each one is very important. Keep your passengers safely seated while underway. Sitting on the bow, the front of the boat, or the stern, the back of the boat, or the gunnels, the side of the boat, is very dangerous. People sitting in these locations can fall overboard, get trapped under the hull, or be severely cut by the propellers. And it's a violation of many state laws. Remain behind the rails at all time while underway, and, a very important point, don't ever bring extra fuel on board the houseboat. Here are several more important safety tips. 1. Be sure that at least one adult always knows the whereabouts of every child on the boat. Children 12 years of age and under must wear life vests when not inside the main cabin. And once underway, children are to wear jackets everywhere. 2. Don't drink and drive. Driving a houseboat, or any watercraft for that matter, while intoxicated is not only dangerous, it's against the law. When a problem occurs, refer to your Houseboat Operating Manual. Read your manual and become familiar with your boat before climbing into the captain's chair. And, finally, call the marina on the VHF radio or with your cell phone if you have any questions or concerns. They're here to help.